Yeah, fine, I know what I said. Alright, listen. I'm still pretty much on the gravy train of no random crits on TF2 for various reasons, and I still stand by, at least most of the points I made in my video. I am also not ignoring all the major issues that come with having random crits in the game, which Uncle Dane exposed very nicely in his video. They still destroy the skill of calculating damage and distance, as well as class dynamics, as in being far away from a heavy means you shouldn't die to him, and they still favor players that do well instead of ones that don't. I've been thinking though, what is one of my main problems with random crits? They can't be predicted because they're entirely random. There is no way of knowing when they happen, so you can't exactly prepare for them or adjust accordingly in time. I suppose you could estimate or rather guess when they might happen, but it's not really reliable in the slightest. Well, I kept thinking, and I think I came up with a way how they could work in TF2. Instead of compromising how much damage they do or removing them outright or even replacing them for random damage resistance or some guff, why not keep them and go all the way out with them? Actually make them part of the game that you can account for. Okay, so you know how random crits work, right? You have a base chance of 2%, and the more damage you did in the last 30 seconds, the higher your chance. The highest chance you can get is 12%, and for melee is 60%. If you did at least 800 damage, you had full crit chance. So my point is, why not communicate all of that to the player? It's one really simple solution. Keep them exactly the way they are, but make it visually obvious when they're happening. Step 1. Make the weapon glow or something based on how much damage has been dealt recently, or simply when the player is at max crit chance. Step 2. Show the crit chance itself in the HUD, or alternatively just how much damage the player has dealt in the past 30 seconds. There! Now you know exactly how much your damage affects your crit chance, so you can estimate it and use it to your advantage. It would also make it less annoying and surprising to die to random crits because you can see them coming. Unless you get flanked from behind. But in that case, you would have also died to a spy, so shame on you for not being aware of your surroundings. Honestly, how dare you? That way, you could also use it for your own benefits. You wanna push for the point but your team isn't there so you can't? Then focus on surviving to gain crit chance simply through damage and then go for the point when your team comes back, increasing your chances of a successful push. A simpler example would be, you see those 3 glowing enemies in the distance? Yeah, you might wanna get the hell out of there or pop that Uber already. And think about it, wouldn't this also raise the skill ceiling if it was more obvious and influenceable? Not only would you need to calculate when to drop in once your crit chance is high enough, but you would also have to keep in mind whose crit chance is rising the fastest, similar to counting Uber. Though you might get banned for card counting. So it would not just be kill every enemy you see, to say it bluntly, but also take that soldier out first because he's been glowing for a while now and his crit chance only keeps rising. And hey, let's take it a step further. How about using it for weapon balancing? I'm gonna say this now, this would have only worked if Valve did it from the very beginning of the game, so it's not really possible now unless they rebalance everything from the ground up. It's also a really silly idea since Valve wants to focus on comp, which disables random crits. It's just an idea for a what-if scenario. Basically, what if 2 could have been episode 15? Essentially, you could balance weapons around their crit chance. The Brass Beast, for example, is slow and useless and it makes you vulnerable, but what if it had a guaranteed 5 to 10% crit chance on top of the already existing crit chance? That's just an extreme example just to showcase how it could work. Actually, this idea is not that far off because Valve originally loved to balance weapons around the fact that they didn't do random crits. The Blutsauger is a big example, and even weapons like the Kritzkrieg mention a 100% crit chance. You could even use this for class balancing by giving certain classes higher or lower crit chances, but let's not go there, okay? Certain games already integrate random crits into their gameplay, such as Payday 2 and Vermintide, where having crit builds is an actual strategy. Even PvP games such as League of Legends use them. However, in those games you can influence the crit chance through skills and items, and it's usually a gamble whether to spend your skill points for RNG, or something less valuable but with a guaranteed outcome. Plus, crits aren't necessarily as lethal in those games. But in TF2, it would still be a gamble. Hoping for random chance would still be less reliable than actual skill, as the chance is really low. Unless you use melee, in which case you're putting yourself at risk anyway. So it's not like you could rely on it at all times, just something that might give you the upper hand now and then. This solution is not perfect though. Many of the problems that come with random crits, such as disrupting class dynamics and counting damage, etc. still exist, but while it may teach new players bad habits, it's communicated much better to them via the visuals, plus a good tutorial could teach them about the rest. So basically, should they, for whatever reason, permanently keep crits in the game, then I would prefer them to implement this as a solution. So, what do you guys think? I know that statistically about half of you actually like random crits, so I'm curious what your opinions are. And if you hate my idea, then let me know how you would change it or improve it. Just write a comment down below. Anyway, I'd like to thank my patrons, specifically One Truma, Alexis Chavez, Charlie, Frozen Spaghetti, Oleg Andrev, Paulina Davidova, Ren Marty, The Sad Boo, Zachary Leclerc, and unfortunately not as always anymore, Xenomite. Thanks for your support, it really means a lot. And also thank you very much for watching. Have a wonderful day and goodbye.